And that's going to be huge because that could definitely tip the balance and see some type of change
Absolutely.
for at least the next 4 years.
Absolutely. And Lee, you know what? I think in the next few years, man, maybe next 5 or 10 years, a Democrat that can, be on the national ticket. All right. She's our special guest, man. Like, she is a political young superstar in the making, man. She has been on the front lines for some years now. She is our special guest of the show, my homie, Miss Theryn Bond, joined the Essential AF podcast show. What's going on, Theryn?
Man, I'm tired. I am seriously exhausted. When we say can't stop, won't stop, I think they need to have my picture next to it because I don't know what breaks look like.
I know that's real. I know that's real, man. Thank you for joining us, man. And like I said, I know you've been on the front lines for a while now. Just for the people that may not be familiar, man, tell them as far as your background, and just how you got involved in politics to begin with.
Oh wow. The short version is I've been around it since I was a child. So some of our more seasoned politicians who have been in there for 10, 20, 30 something years, I was seeing and meeting them as a little girl when they were first coming into power or elected office. And so at the time, I had a father who ran office an endless amount of times, and we ain't gonna get into the weeds about that, but it happened, and that was my first introduction. And so because of what I saw at that time, as an adult, I was like, I want no parts of this. I want no parts of being in front of it, next to it, around it, nothing. I'm going to vote and do my civic duty, and we're going to call it a day. But as far as being involved in the day-to-day, I didn't. And then the more I got involved with community work and activism, the opportunity presented itself. I took it. I ran for office last year. It didn't end out. The electorate deserves more than what they currently have, but I don't think they were ready to vote for it, and that's okay. So I've been intentional about plugging into broader areas of politics. That way, not only am I able to help my community, I'm able to help several communities at the same time and have everything trickle down to them that way. So the most recent thing I participated in is being the campaign manager for the Tory Harris for State House District 90 campaign, where we recently beat a 13-term, 26-year incumbent.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. And like I said, I know, you were, excited as anybody would be, man, for, what transpired, what happened yesterday, man. When you saw the official call, and Joe Biden reached 270, what were your initial thoughts on everything yesterday?
Well, what's so funny? I can remember exactly what happened in the first 20 minutes of that time. I was cooking breakfast, and a friend of mine who actually worked for the Biden campaign in Wisconsin called me and said, I'm taking you to breakfast to celebrate. I said, okay, well, we're going to go down the street to Sunrise. And I was listening to another call and talking to her at the same time, and they unmuted everybody on the call to tell them the news. And we were just screaming in Sunrise. We didn't care who was around, who was going to be upset. We were hollering because we were excited. And then 5 minutes after that, we were booking flights and Airbnb because we ain't playing and we were going to get there. So it was definitely a monumental occasion. It's been amazing to be able to, in our lifetime, see not only the first black president, but now we've also seen the first black vice president. And regardless of all the small, intricate things are that we think about the presidency itself, we cannot ignore the historic value that has presented itself. And so now going forward, Monday at 8:01, we holding people accountable out the gate. Y'all in this office, let's get to work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what it's all about, holding folks accountable. And, it's time for action now. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we voted you in the office. Like I said, over 70 million people came out, to vote, pretty much either side, 70 million for Biden, 70 million for Trump. So, people came out in droves, in this country, in record numbers to voice their opinions. And that's just how fragile, the state of the country has been over the last 4 years, man. So now it's time for action, Theryn. And what will be the first thing? What's the first step? Lee was talking about when Joe gets his cabinet together. Who would you like to see, be his first appointment to his cabinet?
Ooh, that's tough. I don't know that I have one specific person in mind, but I can say what I'd like to see. I'd like to see some millennials. I'd like to see some Asian and Pacific Islanders. I'd like to see some black folks. I'd like to see some LGBTQ plus folks. I would like to see an extremely diverse cabinet. I would like to see some seasoned folks, and I would like to see some newcomers, because often what we miss in politics is grooming the next generation, the next set of leaders to come into power as people are transitioning away or no longer on this earth. And so I want to see people that are very much plugged in, but I want them to be intentional about when they say representation matters, they mean it, and the cabinet needs to reflect that. We don't just need people from the big states like New York, California, Illinois. We need some Tennessee folks. We need some Alabama folks. We need some Georgia folks. We need to look strategically where people have shown there is an interest and they are moving power around across this country. Those folks need to be a part of cabinet appointments.
No doubt. No doubt. Right now we're being joined by our special guest of the show, my homie, Miss Theryn Bond. You saw how I put it in the title, man. I feel like you are a Democratic political motivator, man. And you mentioned millennials, man, and the way they came out, and voted this year. I feel like, the youth has spoken. And I feel like, Theryn, you're going to be, one of those leaders in the future, as well, man. What are your, before we let you go, what are your political aspirations in the future, man? What are you striving for in the next 5-10 years or so?
The funny thing about it is, this thing happened with Governor Lee. We had all these jokes about, Theryn run for governor, and I was like, ooh, that's cute, but is that realistic, and is that something that I'm willing to commit to 100%? And then I was more intentional about the change that I want to see, where I want to see it, and how I want to see it implemented. And so I made the strong decision to run for party chair of the Tennessee Democratic Party. Those elections don't take place until January, and you serve 2 years at a time. And the way you get to that position is there's an application and filtering process, but ultimately the state executive committee votes for that person. And so that's what I'm working towards right at this very moment, because the Democratic Party as a whole, we have a whole lot of work to do. And we've seen that if we look at simply the amount of people that were invited to be the president and how it dwindled down and who was doing the picking. And that is the problem, that the people doing the picking are not changing strategy. They're not widening their base. They're not entertaining their base. Even ones that exist, it's the assumption that black people just gonna vote Democrat and black people are just gonna vote, period. And there are a lot of black people who sit they behinds at home simply because they felt there were no options, and that should not be the case. We have to have somebody in place that's going to look at every single corner of this state and be willing to ID those that are likely and least likely, and we're going to get in position, we're going to teach them, we're going to groom them, we're going to take them on that journey so that we can have the leadership that we want to see. And that's something that I want to be a part of. And to note additional historical context, this cycle we had the first black woman to ever be nominated by a major party run for U.S. Senate. And if I am elected as the new TNDP chair in January, I was the first black woman to ever hold that position.
Wow.
So there's a lot riding on that, and I'm willing to step up and do the job. And so I hope that the state executive committee sees that, and they're willing to listen and work on strategy together and be willing to broaden their base, because I'm ready to get to work.
There it is. There it is, man. You heard it, man. Theryn Bond, our special guest here, man. Democratic political motivator, man. Analyst. She's running for office, man. She's doing everything, man. Listen, when you get on that national ticket, all right, and you run for Senate, vice president, whatever your aspirations are, can your boy get a job, man? Can I get a job on the Theryn Bond ticket, man? What's up?
You know what?
He just want a job so he don't have to pay no taxes. Don't give him no job.
Hey man, hey, what's up, man?
You know what? I'm not gonna do anybody else. I'm not gonna do anybody else, and I think it's gonna be important to do things like this. It's important to touch all bases. Some people can be reached through TV, some people through text, some people through, some people it's podcast. We got to be
For
able to
sure.
meet people where they are and share our message with
There
them
it
so we
is.
can get some wins behind Democrats.
There it is. Hey, Theryn, man, listen, like I said, I've been knowing you for a long time, man. So proud of you and the woman
Thank
you have
you.
become. You know, you on the front lines, you doing your thing. I be seeing you on the news, man. Anytime there's something going on in the city, you can bet Theryn Bond is probably gonna be right there, front and center. And like I said, we need that. You know, the city's rocking with you, man. We behind you. You know, so like I said, going forward, man, you know, we're gonna definitely do this again, have you on in the future, all right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. All right. You have a great evening.
Thank you.
All right, man. That's the homie right there, man. Miss Theryn Bond joining us right here on the Essential AF podcast show, man. I'm telling y'all, man, girl she gonna be senator one day, man. I'm trying to get a job, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm trying to find a position for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Lee, what you want to do? What you want to do in her cabinet? What's up?